Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Core Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting to my second Spooky Vibes video for you guys, and this was titled Three True Basement Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
Back in 2021, when the interest rates were like 2%, my husband and I bought a new house out in New Jersey.
Okay.
It was a single-family home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, with an unfinished basement. Typical house, really, but we were so excited to start our lives here. About a month after moving into our new home, we were still unloading boxes and putting our stuff away. Well, one day, my husband was off at work, and I was at home, unloading the boxes and putting things into their correct places. I had just unfinished packing some boxes that had our Tupperware in them, and was bringing these boxes downstairs to our basement for storage. The basement was unfinished, cold, and dark. There was only a single light that you had to flick on.
Okay, one thing about buying a house with an unfinished basement is it'll be a hassle trying to finish it, trying to make it a extra bedroom area. I would rather buy a house that is already have a basement that's finished. But anyway, let's continue.
It was still so dark, even with the light on, that I had to take out my cell phone to actually see where I was going. I put the box in the corner where I was storing them, and I was about to head back upstairs when I heard a noise. I quickly shone my light throughout the basement. I thought maybe it was an animal that had gotten in, or just something that had fallen over. The basement seemed empty. I laughed at myself for freaking out a bit and started up the stairs. I got onto the first step when, this time, I heard laughing. I thought that there was no way that I heard that. My husband and I live alone. We don't have any children and we don't have any pets. I thought maybe this was the wind blowing outside that sounded like laughter.
I don't think there's no way wind generate people laughing. You definitely got someone hiding down there that's not supposed to be there.
I decided to scan the basement one last time, just to put my mind at ease. I walked over to the crawlspace, which I had forgotten was there when I checked the first time, and shone my cell phone light into it. It was completely empty, except for the fact that in the very back corner, crouched down on heels, was a man. His eyes glinted in my cell phone light. He had some kind of candy bar in his hand and chocolate was all over his face. He had on this red sleeveless shirt, baggy shorts, and sandals. I took a step back, and the man in my crawlspace said, "I like you guys better than the last family." I turned around and sprinted back up the stairs. I immediately locked the basement door. The door shook, and the handle jiggled violently. The man from the crawlspace had followed me up the stairs and was trying to get through the door. I grabbed my car keys, got into my car, and drove to a Walmart parking lot and called the police and my husband. By the time the police and my husband got to the house, there was no man in the basement. They had searched the entire house, and he was gone. They determined that he had gotten in through the tiny basement window that we have downstairs. About a week after this happened, we removed that window and sealed it with cement. We have no idea how long this guy has been down in our basement. His comments about the previous family living here makes me think that it could have been for a while.
Holy Cholito. Yeah, that would be creepy just to find out there was somebody down in your basement and they were there when the previous owners were living there. So he must have probably creeped them out too, and that's why they moved. But thankfully they did the right thing and sealed that window up with cement before he decided to come back. Dang, I wished the police got there before he ran outside, because they would have ran down the basement and grabbed him and arrested him for trespassing. But thankfully she did the right thing and ran out of the house and drove away, because if he was able to get that basement door open, he probably would have grabbed her and did something naughty with her, which I hate to even imagine, or beat her up or something. I don't know. Thankfully none of that happened, so let's get to story number 2, shall we?
When I was like 10 years old, my house was the house that all the cousins would come up to and visit. It was like an old Victorian-style house in Vermont with a huge backyard. Well, one weekend, it was me, my cousins, and a couple of my friends playing in the backyard. My parents had called us all in for lunch. We were all sitting down at the table, talking, chatting, and making a mess. There were seriously like 15 of us kids. That's when my parents noticed that my one cousin, Matt, was not in the house for lunch.
Okay, first of all, that sounds nice that one of your family members has a Victorian-style house in Vermont. I mean, that sounds like a good place to go for vacation up there. But if one of your cousins does not show up for lunch, something's off. He either ran too far in the woods, or I bet you he's down in the basement and somebody's holding him down there against his will.
We thought maybe he was still outside playing, or just playing a prank on us and hiding. After my parents came back from outside with no Matt, they started to get worried. There were woods that surrounded our house, and they started calling out into the woods for Matt to come out. When they still did not find him, my parents ordered all of us kids to search around the house and to see if he was hiding somewhere. After about a half hour of us cousins searching the house, we did not find him. My parents were about to call the police when my dad said let him check the basement first. Even though we lived in a nice Victorian house, the basement was never finished. It had cracked concrete flooring, it was always freezing, and a lot of dark shadows were down there. Well, my dad was going down the basement stairs to look for Matt, and I decided to follow him. We got to the bottom stairs. My dad flicked on the lights and called out for Matt. The basement seemed empty. We were about to give up and call the police when we saw him. In the very back of the basement, where my parents stored canned foods on a shelf, Matt was standing there facing the wall. I remember thinking, what the heck was he doing down here in the pitch black, looking at a wall for?
Yeah, I'll be wondering that myself. I mean, it'd be creepy just to go down in an unfinished basement just to find a child and just to see them staring in the wall. I got a bad feeling that he might have saw a ghost, because if they didn't see no adult holding him captive by now, then I can knock off the whole theory of him being kidnapped or hold against his will off the table. So he's probably hypnotized, which that's not good. Somebody better go over there and shake him just to see what he's doing down there.
Well, Matt did not respond to our voices, so we started walking towards him. As we got closer, we could hear him speaking some kind of weird gibberish. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but I remember it freaked me the hell out, almost like he was speaking another language. My dad grabbed hold of him. We noticed his pants were wet, and he smelled sour. He had also peed himself. My dad shook him a bit, and whatever trance or hypnosis Matt was in was gone. He looked at both of us and said in the most nonchalant, calm way, "My friend lives down here. He's going to visit you." My dad and I both did not know what he meant by that, but we were just glad that we had found him and he was not missing. But here's where shit gets even weirder. After that incident with Matt and the basement, I would wake up to strange noises in my house. It always sounded like someone was walking around at night, specifically in the basement. Then about 5 years after that happened, our house burned down. We were away on vacation, thank God, but still, it was very traumatic getting those phone calls and coming home to see your house no longer there.
I know, crazy. Makes you wonder, is there a ghost that's just roaming around, or was there an actual person there to pour gas and start a fire at the house? If that was the case, they're sorry SOBs, because now you just burnt down this family's home and they don't have nowhere to live. And they have to start searching for a new home. But thankfully, they were out of the house when that happened. And hopefully they got it rebuilt, or they just moved to a new place. That's sketchy and crazy to hear happen.
I can't prove it, but I truly think our basement was haunted or had some kind of evil in it. The fire department had ruled that it was faulty wiring that had caused the fire, but I believe that it was something more sinister than that. Something sinister that came from the basement.
I was about to say, Of course, the fire department is going to say faulty wiring because they wouldn't believe you in the whole ghost haunting department. So I bet you that ghost probably tampered with the wiring somehow and just made it go spark up in flames. I don't know, but that is crazy. So they should have believed his cousin Matt saying his friend was coming to visit him. That ain't no friend. That's a demon, seems like. And they got their answer with the house burning down.
Back when I was in high school, there was this abandoned farmhouse in our town that everyone claimed was haunted. I was part of a friend group that loved horror movies, loved exploring, and loved to push things to the limit. Well, we had the great idea one weekend to go and see if this farmhouse was really haunted or not. It was me, my friend Andrew, and Carl. We stayed the night at Carl's place because it was the easiest to sneak out of his house on account that his parents were never home. Anyway, we all piled into Carl's Jeep and drove over to the haunted farmhouse around midnight. Even though I love horror stuff, I had to admit, seeing the farmhouse in the moonlight, all decayed and abandoned, did give me an unsettling feeling in my stomach.
I mean, I'll be getting an unfeeling nervousness feeling in my stomach too. And I would not be walking into a place like this alone. I would have to have friends come with me. Now, if it was haunted, I wouldn't dare go in there unless I was doing a ghost investigation with some people.
We each brought a flashlight and bolt cutters as the front door was chained locked. I'm pretty sure what we did was illegal, but at the time, we did not care. We cut the chains off the front door and entered inside. It was super dark. There was dust on everything. The whole farmhouse just smelled stale. Every footstep of ours creaked. We all stayed together and went through every room. I'll be honest, it was pretty creepy at first, but after we explored the first and second floor, it wasn't that bad. That's when Andrew found a door in the kitchen. We opened it up and saw that it was a staircase leading down into a basement. Something deep inside me said not to go down there, but the explorer inside me quickly overrode that thought, and we descended down the stairs. When we got off the last step, we scanned our flashlights around. The basement was huge, but what was the strangest part about it was the dolls. And I mean literally hundreds of dolls. They were lined on shelves, some broken, some naked, some with missing limbs. I remember we were in complete awe at the sheer amount of dolls that were in this basement.
Yeah, I'll be in denial too. Makes you wonder if a crazy person lived there at one time and their passion was collecting dolls, but that'd be kind of weird seeing some that were broken, missing limbs, or even naked.
And I was starting to get a really disturbing feeling in my stomach when we suddenly heard a shuffling noise. We all stopped, looked at each other, not making a move to be sure it was not one of us who made the noise. And after a few seconds of stillness, that's when we heard the piano playing. Somewhere in the back of the basement that we could not see, someone was playing a piano. We did not need any more reasons not to get the fuck out of there. We sprinted back up the stairs. One of the stairs broke under my foot, and I thought I was going to be trapped down there in the basement with the dolls and whoever was playing that piano. But Andrew grabbed me and pulled me up over the broken step. We made it to the first floor and booked it out the front door. We all got into Carl's car. As he was starting it up, even from out here, we could hear the faint sounds of the piano being played from the basement. Carl put the car in drive and we sped home. That week in school, we told everybody what happened, but unfortunately, they all thought that we were lying because we did not get it on film. But we did not care if they believed us or not. And to this day, we have no idea why there were so many dolls in the basement and who was playing the piano. And believe me, we have no interest in going back and finding out.
Man, I cannot believe the rest of their classmates did not want to believe them because they didn't capture it on film. I mean, good lordy, look at the shock in their eyes and their face. That would tell you that they're not lying. They're not making this stuff up. But yeah, if I heard a piano and somebody scurrying around down there in the basement of an abandoned house, I'll be like, nope, I'm out of here. But it's creepy to think that you can hear the piano still playing when they're in their car about ready to leave. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more spooky vibes content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man Square channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I say that's a wrap, and that's it, y'all.